He looks happy now, but this is what he feels when no one is watching. He smiles, and to the outside world, it looks like he's perfectly fine. Friends see him laughing, coworkers see him focused, and social media shows a version of him that appears unbothered and confident. But what they don't see is the emotional effort behind that smile. That smile is not proof of happiness, it's proof of control. It's the mask he wears to convince himself as much as everyone else that losing you didn't affect him deeply. Men are often taught to hide pain, to keep moving forward, and to never show vulnerability once a relationship ends. So he smiles because admitting the loss would mean admitting that you mattered more than his ego wants to accept. Underneath that calm exterior, his mind keeps replaying moments he thought were insignificant at the time. Your tone of voice, the way you looked at him when you felt unheard, the small gestures he took for granted. The smile becomes a shield against regret. He avoids silence because silence forces reflection, and reflection brings him back to you. Even when he appears relaxed, there's a subtle tension in him, a restlessness he can't quite explain. He tells himself he's better off, that this was inevitable, that he'll move on quickly. But deep down, the smile fades the moment he's alone. That's when reality creeps in. Losing you didn't break him publicly, but privately, it shifted something inside him that he can't easily fix. After losing you, what he feels first isn't always sadness, it's disbelief. There's a strange numbness that sets in, a sense that the situation isn't fully real yet. He expects you to reach out, to soften, to come back like before. Even if the relationship was strained, part of him assumed you would always be there. That assumption gave him comfort and power. Now that it's gone, his mind struggles to catch up with reality. He smiles because smiling delays acceptance. Acceptance would mean facing the fact that he no longer has access to your care, your patience, or your emotional availability. He begins to notice the absence in subtle ways. His phone feels quieter, his daily routine feels oddly empty, and moments that once involved you now feel incomplete. But instead of acknowledging this pain, he distracts himself. He stays busy, makes plans, fills a schedule. The smile becomes part of that distraction. It tells the world, "I'm okay," even when internally he feels unsettled. At night, when there's nothing left to distract him, the numbness fades and the questions begin. Could he have done more? Should he have listened better? Why didn't he take you seriously when he had the chance? These thoughts don't come all at once. They arrive slowly, building pressure over time. And the longer he avoids them, the heavier they become. His smile, once effortless, starts to feel forced because deep down he knows something meaningful has slipped through his fingers. What he truly feels after losing you is a quiet form of regret that grows over time. At first, he may feel relief from arguments, expectations, or emotional responsibility. But relief is temporary. Once the noise fades, the space you used to fill becomes impossible to ignore. He starts to realize that your presence gave his life emotional structure. You were the one who noticed his moods, supported his ambitions, and believed in him even when he doubted himself. Without you, he feels less seen. He may not articulate it this way, but there's a sense of emotional disconnection that follows him. He smiles in public because regret is uncomfortable, and admitting it would challenge his self-image. Regret forces him to confront the idea that he might have mishandled something valuable. He remembers moments where he chose convenience over effort, silence over communication, pride over vulnerability. These memories don't attack him all at once. They surface unexpectedly, during a song, a familiar place, or a passing comment. And each time they appear, they sting a little more. He realizes that you didn't just leave a relationship, you left a gap in his emotional world. The smile becomes thinner now, less convincing. It's no longer about confidence, it's about coping. He tells himself he'll do better next time, but part of him knows that next time won't be the same, because it won't be you. As time passes, what he feels most strongly is the loss of emotional safety. When you were there, he had someone who understood his patterns, his flaws, and his unspoken needs. Losing you means losing that familiarity. Even if he didn't always express appreciation, your presence offered stability. After the breakup, he may try to replace that feeling through friends, casual connections, or distractions, but none of them replicate what you provided. He smiles because acknowledging this loss would mean admitting dependency, and dependency feels dangerous to his ego. Yet, deep inside, he misses being known. He misses the comfort of being accepted without performance. New interactions feel shallow in comparison, and even when he's surrounded by people, he feels strangely alone. This loneliness isn't dramatic or obvious, it's quiet and persistent. It shows up in moments when he wants to share something meaningful, but realizes there's no one who truly understands the context anymore. You were his emotional reference point, and without you, everything feels slightly off balance. He smiles through this imbalance, convincing himself that independence is strength, but independence without connection feels hollow. Slowly, he begins to understand that losing you wasn't just about losing a partner. It was about losing a sense of emotional grounding that he didn't realize he depended on. Another feeling that emerges after losing you is insecurity. He may not show it, but your absence forces him to confront parts of himself he avoided. When you were there, your love softened his self-doubt. Without it, he begins to question his worth, not loudly, but quietly. He wonders whether he pushed you away, whether his actions were enough, and whether his emotional limitations cost him something real. The smile becomes a way to hide these doubts. He projects confidence to avoid confronting vulnerability. Yet, internally, there's a growing awareness that he might have failed to rise to the level the relationship required. He sees other people moving forward, building meaningful connections, and it triggers comparison. He starts to realize that not everyone gets multiple chances at something genuine. Losing you exposes his emotional blind spots, his reluctance to communicate, his fear of intimacy, his tendency to delay effort until it's too late. These realizations don't make him change immediately, but they do linger. He smiles because change is uncomfortable and reflection is painful. Still, your absence becomes a mirror reflecting parts of himself he can no longer ignore. And that realization stays with him longer than he expected. After losing you, he also feels a sense of emotional confusion. He thought he understood what he wanted, but now those assumptions feel uncertain. Without you, his future looks less defined. Plans he once imagined now feel incomplete or irrelevant. He smiles because uncertainty makes him uncomfortable, and smiling creates the illusion of control. But internally, he's questioning his decisions. Did he prioritize the right things? Did he mistake comfort for compatibility or freedom for fulfillment? Your absence forces him to reevaluate his emotional priorities. He may try to distract himself with new goals or ambitions, but even success feels slightly muted without someone to share it with. The confusion isn't dramatic, it's subtle, like a background noise that never fully fades. He misses the clarity your presence provided, even during difficult moments. You challenged him, grounded him, and gave his life emotional direction. Without that, he feels unanchored. He smiles because admitting confusion would mean admitting vulnerability, and vulnerability feels risky after loss. Still, the questions remain, quietly shaping his thoughts and decisions. Losing you didn't just change his relationship status, it altered how he understands himself and what he truly values. What he also feels after losing you is the weight of missed opportunities. He remembers moments where he could have shown up more, listened more deeply, or chosen empathy over defensiveness. These memories don't come with loud regret at first, they come as subtle discomfort. He smiles to keep those thoughts at bay, but they resurface when he least expects them. He realizes that love often asks for effort before urgency, and he waited until urgency arrived.
Losing you teaches him a lesson he didn't want to learn, that consistency matters more than intention. He may tell himself that everything happens for a reason, but that doesn't erase the feeling that something valuable was lost due to inaction. The smile becomes a way to maintain dignity, to avoid appearing affected. Yet inside, there's a quiet acknowledgement that he underestimated what he had. That realization doesn't always lead to immediate growth, but it plants a seed of awareness that love requires presence, not just feelings, and that awareness stays with him longer than the smile fades. Over time, he begins to feel the emotional consequences of taking you for granted. When you were there, your support felt constant, almost automatic. Now that it's gone, he notices the difference. He smiles because admitting loss feels weakness, but internally,